everybody. It's Cindy. Jeannie and I decided to interview women from the Power of Eight who call themselves the High Vibe Sisterhood. Today we have Stephanie Quade with us, and she has come to a couple of our retreats. I've watched you in action, Stephanie. You're an amazing woman. We've bonded on so many different levels, and we need to share with you right now. We were having a little technical difficulty with her audio was going in and out and in and out. And she has recently had experience with her father passing through the veil. And sometimes this is how they let us know that they're with us. So that's what we're acknowledging. Hi, Dad. We know she said,
and I asked for him to be here, and he's showing up. And I was telling Cindy that I asked the other day for a feather, and I wasn't seeing any feathers. And I was kind of playing around saying, gosh, Dad, you haven't delivered yet. And I went to open my egg carton, and there was a feather in my egg carton. And I eat a lot of eggs because I don't eat meat. But it was there like 2 hours after I said that. I opened
a feather was it a chicken feather?
It was a chicken feather, but it was probably about 3 inches. It was a long feather. And it was farm fresh eggs, but I've been getting farm fresh eggs for years.
Isn't that
amazing?
Years.
Yes. And so ask and you shall receive.
Because it's such a different place for you to see a feather.
I just eat a lot of eggs, and we cook a lot of eggs, and I make a lot of egg salad. Whenever I travel with the girls, we always take egg salad.
Right.
And so never in my life have I had a feather. I did the morning that he died, I had 2 double eggs that morning. Every time I cracked an egg, it was a double, it was 2 times. And I've never had that happen either. I've had a double egg maybe a couple of times in my whole life. But he shows up. He's here, and I feel it, and he does all these little signs of things. So today maybe, showing up for us.
Showing up.
We'll see what he does.
So if you hear Stephanie fading out, that's her dad playing with us, and we love that. How did you get involved with the Power of Eight, this synergy that the 4 of you have? And Rebecca just told me that was the first time that at the first retreat that you came to of the BNOW retreat, when you helped Miss Anna, of you actually physically working on somebody. She couldn't get out of bed. She was in so much pain. And after she was with you, she was all over the place. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, that was the first time that all of us had done Reiki energy healing all together at one time. And we knew it instantly when we put our hands on her. I always can feel energy, but you could really feel it just soaring through my body. I could feel it soaring through mine. And it was so hot. She was hot. We were hot. And then, she just had an amazing testimony after. And since then, we've worked on lots of people all together, and we've spoken together and stuff too. And then we all just get together, because when we're all together, like last weekend, we were all sleeping in a cabin together, and we hosted a women's retreat. But there is a synergy. It's it's pretty amazing.
I got to be in the room with you at the last retreat. With the 4 of you.
That was so much fun. That was so much fun. All of us in our pajamas. I'll remember that forever.
I'll bet you will.
I'll remember that forever.
I'll remember you forever too. We did a couple of silly things, but yeah. It's fun. It's different when women all get together. When you put a man in the group, it changes. The energy shifts a little bit.
It's interesting, but that's really what I've been focusing on the last year is I work with women mostly in my coaching business, but I've had men too, and I have had men take online courses with me and stuff. But my focus is shifting because there is this amazing thing that happens when women get together, in groups, but also just one-on-one. It's I think women are beautiful and amazing and incredible, and I want to inspire them. And yeah, when we all get together in with our authentic selves, masks off, just in our PJs, no makeup, something beautiful happens. Your authentic self comes out, and you start sharing that with other people, and then their authentic selves come out, and then you get to just blend it together, and it's this amazing energy. I think so many times people don't feel like they can do that in their daily life. We're expected to put these masks on, in social media or with our families even. And then you get women together and it's like, wow, I'm really understanding who I am because of them. So I think these 4 women definitely, I'm really more myself than I have been probably since I was a tiny little girl. I just feel like I'm really discovering more of who I am, and they just bring it out in me. I don't know. It's this thing. So I want to inspire more women to be able to do that. So
it's interesting you would say that, because in my interview with Suzanne, what happened was we were talking about how as children, we do know our authentic self.
Yeah.
Little babies, which I hear you have a new little baby.
Yes, we have a little granddaughter, Ren. She'll be 8 months tomorrow.
Isn't that something? She was born while you were at the retreat, and we were celebrating. Oh my gosh. And
yes,
does this look
so
like a
amazing
grandma to you? I have a song that I wrote, by the way, that says, Grandma never looked like you. Your hair is long and red and hers was blue. That's really, I wrote it.
I want to hear you sing that.
I'll send you the MP3 on that. Actually,
please. I love that.
Actually, right now I'll do a little plug for me. If you go to my website, which is CynthiaProductions.com, all of my music is free. All of the music is free because music's free right now. If you want to listen to me on Alexa, she'll start playing my stuff, So music, the music I've written when Napster first happened, the record companies weren't selling records that much anymore. It's all about live performance now. And so I had over 5 million downloads of my music on mp3.com. My Ave Maria was #1 for months. And so millions of people have my music. Yeah.
Music heals. That's another way that we can tap into our authentic selves, is through music, is to listen to it, to play it, to sing it, and to be in that place of joy with music. And yeah.
You totally fit that image. I wrote it from my other girlfriend that we call Redbird, because she's a beautiful gal, and I wrote it for her. But it fits you. There you are.
Yes, I always say I want to be a hot grandma. They call me that at the nail salon. They say, it's hot grandma. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, I'll be 50 next year. So I'm still a young grandma, but having a grandbaby is amazing. And again, it's seeing that authenticity with a little child, and we get to be in that place of play with them. And she's just 8 months, but as she gets a little bit older, I can't wait, because we should all be playing more. And they give us permission to pull out the Barbies and do all of the, play in the sandbox and all of that stuff that brings us joy. So she's fun. She's the sweetest little thing. She's just a sweet thing.
Her name is
Ren Ruby.
Oh.
Yes, Ren Ruby. I know the Ruby, right?
Yeah, Ruby.
Yeah, Ren Ruby. Yeah, she's special. She came along at the best time too, and just we're keeping her next weekend, all weekend. So we keep her 1 weekend a month. And nice. So at first I was like, I don't know about this. This sounds really busy, but we've had the best time. We take her to the park. We take her to do all these fun things, and kids are just fun.
It's important for couples to reconnect.
Yes. And my husband and I never raised little children together. We're a blended family. We have 4 children between us. And so I never got to see him be a dad, like to little ones. I have a son with autism, and he's wonderful with my son. But to see him with the baby is nice. I like it. I think there's something sexy about him with the baby. And so, yeah, I've never seen him in that role before. And most people, when they get married young, they get to kind of see that, but I've never seen that before. So it's a totally different role than we've ever seen. And of course, he never saw me as a mom with littles. So, and we get to see,
it's natural.
It's natural. And we get to work together, which we've never done before in that way, as to who's making the bottle and what are we doing today with this baby.
That great.
And
one thing that happens between women is we can see any of us that have pushed a baby out. And when we see a pregnant woman, like last night I saw one, right? My little granddaughter graduated from preschool. And there was a woman there that was pregnant. And there's something that kind of goes up in your heart when you see a pregnant woman. And a lot of times women will smile at each other, and all it is I know what you're doing. I know what you're going through. If you see you, and that's all you need is a smile. And that happens a lot. When I was pregnant, I remember people would smile, just smile, or women would smile.
I love that when you can connect with somebody like that.
Yes.
Like, I see you, and
I see
what you're going through, and recognizing that it's such a beautiful gift.
Right. All babies are a gift.
I've loved babies since I was a nanny. I was babysitting at 10 years old. I always said, I don't know what I'm going to do in my life, but I know I want to be a mom, and I just want to take care of kids. And then, of course, I became a teacher for 20 years, off and on. But so I love kids, and I love to play. Like, I just love to play. And now I have teenagers, and they don't want to play with me anymore. And so now I have this little one who's going to want to play with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, my 17-year-old's like, really, Mom? No. So I know. I mean, we play, but not. It's just different. And I just love to play. I love to play pretend. I love to play. My son and I used to play surgeon. And I went to the medical store, and bought him like the booties and the real stethoscope. And it was so much fun. And it's interesting because I do take that into what I teach other people about play, because we don't need a kid to play, we need to develop those things in our lives too. But there's some joy that happens in your heart when you're playing, and we just need to give ourselves more permission to do that.
Well, one thing that happens is we vicariously go into our own childhood again. That mentality as when we were a child.
Yes, and there are no limits. And I think it relates to, this is probably why I love visioning so much, and I do a lot of vision coaching and teaching about being creative and dreaming, is because, I am a dreamer and always have been since I was a little girl, but I love being in that space of pretend and like what if and creating. I mean, we can create in our own lives too, in our head. And it's fun. And people think that you just have to wake up and do your 9 to 5 and respond to life, when you can be creating it. But you can also do that through play. That's just one way that we can do it, where there's no pressure. It's just, you're right. You go back to your childhood, and it feels amazing. So, I love that.
So we become the teacher, but we also, when like a baby, I have this beautiful picture of a baby looking at grass for the first time, just, and we become that.
Yeah, it's discovery. It's discovery. And we did that when we were babies, but then when we get older, we sort of forget. But when we're with them, we're doing it with them. And we're watching them discover the world, and the butterflies and the grass, and especially when they're around 1 or 2, and it's just, everything is, you know,
I
it's a
have one where
kitty.
we have.
Yeah, yeah. Ren loves my cats, and
Okay.
she'll be like, "Oh," and and it's the sweetest thing because she's just in awe of it.
Right.
And
We have
yeah.
we have a husky. My daughter has a husky, and so my son's daughter, Adeline, she
Hmm.
loves me too,
Oh, I love that name.
and she just when she sees the husky, she just lays on and just puts her head because they're real furry. She loves them. Yeah, it's beautiful. Children are beautiful. They're incredibly powerful. They are the most powerful spiritual beings on our planet right now. The children
I
are.
remember you saying that at our retreat, and I believe that. And I also believe that they still know what we all should know, but we forget as we get older that we're all
And we're
connected to
reminded
spirit.
with them.
Yeah, we came from spirit. We're connected to spirit, um, and that, like I said, we don't need to just be angry and responding to life all the time, but we should be in sort of this playful, joyful mode. They're full of joy,
Right.
and nobody's told them otherwise until they get a little bit older, and then they're like, oh, I have to act this way and I have to behave and I have to do this and this is the way the world is. Um, but the little ones, I think it's probably why I love kids so much.
Yeah.
Because they just remember what's true.
The truth. And then they get acclimated. I think the whole game of life, Stephanie, is for us to rediscover who we are. We come in knowing who we are.
It's one of my greatest goals in this whole life is to help other people discover who they are.
discover
that playful place where I had a client, this was a few years ago, but she used to play piano like for a long, long time when she was a little girl. And I was having her make a bliss list, which you just make a list of things that bring you joy or ever brought you joy, even as a little kid, coloring, walking in the grass, going to the beach, whatever. And she said, well, I used to play piano. And I said, well, why don't you play? You know? And now she's playing at weddings, she's playing at church. She's really discovered this place that brought her such joy. And she thought, gosh, I'm older now, so I don't have permission to play. And I'm a dancer, so I love to dance, and I want to do a dance competition in the next year. But some people kind of go, what do you know, they think that that's strange, or how dare you be dancing at almost 50, you know?
I have a comment on that, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a new friend here who's also named Cindy. She started dancing at age 70 and just won third place on on a national competition of ballroom dancing.
That's gonna be
She's 73 now.
It's the most wonderful thing if it's your thing.
Yes.
And so it's just fine. Dancing for me, my grandmother was a dance teacher into her 90s. And so it just runs in my blood, it runs in my veins. And I could push it away and say, well, I'm too old for that. I have no business doing that. You know, that seems frivolous. But it's not frivolous. And it brings me, even when I'm dancing, sometimes I put on, you know, Shakira or Pitbull, and I'll just dance in my house. But before, years ago, I thought that must be silly, you know, but now my family knows I'm just going to be dancing around, and it's wonderful for me. But just having people find those things that it doesn't have to be dancing. It could be
any form of art, any form of art. Doodle, if you doodle, you know, any form of art, redecorate a bedroom, make a new recipe, anything creative. When you act from your creative place, which is the only thing that we are different from every other living thing on this planet. Every living thing has procreation and survival. Those are the two instincts. But creativity, that belongs to us humans. You look through your room right now, everything you see came from thought. That beautiful painting behind you, somebody wanted to express nature.
Yeah, I love that, and I hope that people can can connect to that more in their life and use it like in creative ways, like we said, coloring and painting and things like that, but also to create their life
Right.
that they love, that starts here with thought, and then you make it happen and attract it also to your life. But that we have so much more creativity here than most people play with.
Talk to us a little bit about, you did a beautiful presentation at the retreat. Talk to us about that, because I know that you're very passionate about teaching, manifestation, that type of thing.
I'm a teacher by trade, so I guess it just comes out in every way. I love to teach on vision. I talked at the retreat about vision and manifesting, and that they call me the manifesting queen, or the master manifester, because I can write down what I want, or even just think about it in my head in a visualization, and it just comes to be. I'd like to tell the story of how I met my husband. I was single for 8 years. And my girlfriends told me they wanted me to do online dating. And I said, no. And then I said, well, I'll do it for 30 days, but I'm going to manifest my man in 30 days. And if I don't manifest him in 30 days, then I'm out. And so I wrote down all the things I wanted in a man, all the things, and then not only are you connected to that energy, but your brain, it's called the reticular activating system in your brain. Tony Robbins talks a lot about it. And it's how our brain looks for those things that we are visualizing. Okay. So if you buy a red Corvette today and you go out on the street, you're going to see a whole bunch of red Corvettes because your brain is looking for that. And so as I went out into the dating world, I was looking for those characteristics, but I was also putting that frequency out and being available to accept it and to know I'm worthy of it. And I met him on day 29. So we were, girl, I was like, this ain't working though. And that was a long time ago. So, visioning is amazing. Creating a vision for your life is amazing. And knowing that you are powerful, powerful, powerful. And I do mine in lots of different ways. So, I do have a vision board. It's in my bedroom. I like it where I can see it all the time. I actually had on my vision board retreats coming soon. For 2 years on my vision board, having no idea how I was ever going to be involved with retreats. I ended up speaking at your retreat, and then we ended up creating our own retreat. And sometimes you just put something out there and you're not even sure how it's going to come together, and just trusting that God has it. And then you look for ways to make it happen too. You recognize, wow, oh yeah, I did have this on my board. I'm going to plug into this. Or yeah, this is what I've been asking for. This is what I've been looking for. So if you say, oh, I want to start doing Pilates, and you start seeing ads for Pilates, and you'll start investigating that, but you'll also attract a person at the supermarket who says, you know what? I have this Pilates class I've been going to, and it happens to me on the daily, like literally every day. And so I like to play in that field, quantum field of energy. And I just love to be intentional with my life, because we can and we should. And when you do, you realize, wow, I can really, even thinking about somebody and having them call, or asking for a solution for something that's happening in your life, clarity, and then things just happen. It just kind of comes together, and it's powerful. And it is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love to teach on lots of things. I'm a health coach also, so I love health and wellness and herbs and healing the body. I love energy work, Reiki. I do aromatherapy, massage. There's lots of different ways that I help get like chakras in order and stuff like that. But talking about vision fires me up. It just fires me up because, my son is a great example. He's 17, but he's at a fine arts school, and it's very, very hard to get into the school. And he auditioned. I know. He auditioned for the school his 8th grade year. He's about to be a senior. And there were thousands and thousands of kids auditioning, and they had 6 spots. he was not a voice kid. He had never had any voice lessons. He had taken choir, but he was good in theater. But I got him a voice coach. I mean, he has an okay voice, but it's not, you know what I'm saying? He has to be kind of trained. But he wrote a vision for him getting into the school, and every day for 2 weeks he visualized getting in, and them calling him and sending a letter, and how that would feel, and how it would feel to be on stage all the time. And he's there. He got in. He was accepted, and he was like, "Mom, I was."
Love this.
Yes, he was like, "I was there with people who were in commercials, who had already been on TV." And it just yesterday, it was published yesterday. It's one of the top 15 schools in Texas, high schools, and it's very sought after. And he's there. And so, and I think he's wanting to go to college, and it's going to be a great place to launch him into. I don't know if he's going to do some theater tech or what he's going to major in, but he's doing theater all the time. He's doing Brigadoon right now. And it's amazing to watch him doing all these Scottish dancing in the show. But he put it out there, and he believed. He kept saying, "Mom, I know that there are other people that are more qualified, but something's going to happen, and those people are going to see something in me." And knowing that energy and feeling that, sometimes people will say, "I hired this person and I have no idea why. It was just this thing. It was just this feeling." Well, a lot of that has to do with what the other person was expecting. So if you just say, "Oh, I'm going to land this job. If it's for me, I'm going to land this job," the other person will say, "I don't know why, but I just felt this connection to you." And I really think that's what happened with him. He is good at what he does, but I think they felt that. They felt it. They just did it. They said, we're gonna take a chance on this one. So I love that I can pass that down to him.
Yes.
And
what a beautiful testimony of visualization.
Yes, because you can do it on a vision board. I love my vision board because I just see it, and your subconscious sees it. But every night before bed, I take 5 minutes. I do my prayer. Well, 5 minutes is just the visualization, but I do gratitude, like my shirt says, grateful. And I do, what am I grateful for today? And then I just say my little prayers to God. And then I just go through a quick visualization in my head. And I go through like my spiritual life, my relationships, my business, recreation and fun, and kind of just how I see my life going. And I do it every single night, and it becomes a habit. As we know, habits are important. And once you start doing that as part of your bedtime routine, sometimes people do it in the morning because they fall asleep at night, but I do it. I know I kind of have done it for so long, but I just started out. And sometimes it's just a simple thing. Sometimes it's just a way, like spiritually, it's just a way I want to feel. So I feel myself walking in the grass. I feel connected to God. I just feel free. I feel calm and peace, because I'm working on that a lot this year. My word of the year is surrender. And I lost my dad. And so that really just, I've had to put all this stuff to work more than ever. It's like everything I've taught people for years is having to come into play. Not that I don't have those moments of grief, but I'm able to still anchor myself to my vision, and how do I want to feel, so that I don't, go into that space and like build a house there, and a pool and a picket fence and all the things. Like you're there, you can allow yourself to feel sadness, but I'm not going to bed and covering my head up.
I've always felt when people, just in my personal experience, when people do pass, you develop a new relationship with them. Yeah, because they'll communicate with you. So the way that I understand it with myself, I don't care if it's real or not, it's real to me. If I am thinking of that person and loving that person, I feel like somehow they have shown up. Kind of in that movie Coco, as long as
it's one of my favorite movies.
Yes,
but it's true. And some people say that's your imagination, but it's not my imagination, because and there's a book out, and I forget who the author is, but it's called Signs. It's a beautiful book, and it's about connecting to those that have crossed over. And it's about coming up with your own language with them, which is why I said feathers. And there's some other things that connect us. We're actually very connected through music. And when I went with the girls, the four of us went on a trip to Winsboro a few weeks ago. Every store that we went into was playing all of my dad's favorite songs. And they would look at me and go, "Oh, did he like Johnny Cash?" And they'd say, "Oh, did he like, whoever it was?" And I was like, they're playing it again. They're playing another song in the store. And it was different stores. It wasn't one store. It was every store that we went into. He was with me because my dad loved flowers. His thing was gardening, and he planted tulips that came up like right after he passed away. And he had these beautiful gardens. And we were at a garden. It was called Bloom. And it was all about flowers. The whole weekend was about flowers. And I went and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to get to do this, like go do this thing that my dad would love. And so he showed up the whole time because I was just surrounded by flowers everywhere all weekend. And I felt him there so much that whole weekend. And they will show up. I think that book is an amazing way to sort of understand it. But when I ask for him to give me signs, I often see them. Sometimes I don't, but they're busy over there too, I think. My mother says, he's got stuff to do, honey. He cannot just be available to you all the time. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I'm glad that I have the spiritual journey that I've had. I'm glad that I feel connected to God and spirit. And I do believe that when we cross over, we're available. If I didn't have that, I think that it would feel more of a loss. And I wouldn't feel like I could talk to him because I have a lot of people in my life that say they don't talk to their loved ones. They don't believe that they're available. And I thought, well, what if you're wrong and you're missing out? What if you were wrong? So I do talk to him, and I wear a little bracelet on my wrist a lot that has my picture and his picture inside of it. And I just carry him with me. And yeah, but I guess my point is the sadness that I have felt from my dad, because he was my greatest love. Like he was, I saw him every day. I saw and talked to my dad every day. And so there could be just this heavy, and there is a heaviness, but I know how to channel it. I know how to still connect to those things that bring me joy. And I know how to still create my life, which is why I just did a retreat. I'm here with you. I'm not in bed. And there are those times when I think, oh my gosh, this feels really heavy, but I can overcome it because I have the vision. So anyway, I guess you asked me about visualizing, and I think it's great to do it every day, to find a time during the day when you can visualize and know that you're deserving of the life that you want. And that's part of it, because some people can't visualize it if they don't think they deserve it.
Oh, good point. Very good point.
Yeah. So they'll say, I have a block, or it's hard for me. So listen to those things that you're hearing yourself say. Because if you want it, and if you know it's possible, it is possible, and you deserve it.
Absolutely. And
yeah,
I feel sad for people that say, oh, that's just your imagination. We were talking with Suzanne about this little cardinal that shows up every day.
My gosh. She said it was going crazy today. It's amazing. I've seen it, and it pecks on her. It really comes to show up for her. Yes, that is super cool. It's her mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Her mom was proud of her today.
And I feel sad for people that can't say, oh, that's cool. They go, because
it's just a bird. They'll say, you're making that stuff up. But I can't make up the stuff that I've created in my life. Like the house that I'm in now, I don't know if you've seen my pictures on Facebook from the past few days, but my backyard is an oasis. And when we went to get a house, my realtor said, well, there's only like 5 houses that are even in that area in your price range. And none of them are anything that you would want. And I said, well, so I just wrote down everything I wanted. And I wanted a koi pond. And she said, well, there are no houses here with koi ponds. It just doesn't happen. And so she calls me the next day and she's like, this house just came up. It has a koi pond and we need to go right now. And we walked in absolutely the most perfect place. I have a healing room that I'm in right now in the house. The koi pond is there. We were sitting by the pond last night with all of our beautiful greenery and our little lights outside that she was like, this doesn't happen in this town, you know? Well, guess what? I wanted it. So
Isn't that beautiful?
yeah, it's amazing. And and you know that it's the right place because you put it out there already. Both my husband and I looked at each other. We're like, this is it. We got to make an offer. There were other offers on the house and I said, our offer is accepted. And it was. And so, and it's not always going to be that way, depending on, I think, what is supposed to be divinely for you. But I think we have to play with that a little bit. Sometimes we want something, we want to be with this person and it's not the right person ultimately, or it might not be the right house and you might have something better come along. And so we have to trust that process too. I mean, we don't know all the answers, but we can go within and feel what we want to feel, and we can visualize what we think we want. Sometimes, it shifts, but we have to trust that when it shifts, oh, well, that wasn't for me. Then, we interview for a job and we don't get it. Well, something better will come along, or there was something about that wasn't in alignment.
Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers.
Yeah, isn't it true? I mean, I dodged some bullets with men. For real. And you think, oh my gosh, this is supposed to be this is it, You're like, oh, I'm glad that didn't play out. But just trusting, is important. And also knowing that, like, if you don't get a job or something, instead of going into that place of shame, oh my gosh, I must be terrible. They didn't want me. No, it doesn't work like that. Something else is coming. And so I don't know, it just kind of helps me navigate through life like that. Like if something doesn't play out the way I thought it was, it's like, oh, well, then there's something else that I should be doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have to ignore the hiccups and just understand it's part of it. It's just part of it.
This has been my whole last 2 months of my life, is why in the world is this going on. And I think this is to help me grow. These things come along, trials and tribulations and illness or death or whatever, a car crash, or even somebody cutting us off in traffic. I mean, just all those little things. If it was just all easy all the time, we wouldn't grow. So
that's exactly right.
It's part of the human experience we agreed to come here and do this.
Fertilizer makes a garden beautiful. And we all know what fertilizer is.
Yes. Yeah. And it's true. And it really is true. And so I think when you recognize that, you're not in woe is me all the time. You think this is because I have 4 kids. I have a son with autism, and it's challenging. And there are those times when I'm like, good grief, this is wild. But gosh, it teaches me every day. It's helped me be the person I am in my journey. And so I just kind of see it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Accepting everything that comes your way as either a lesson, feeling an emotion, negative emotion, when you learn how to transfer that.
Yeah. Like, what is this telling me? If I feel angry about it, what is this telling me?
Exactly. What is in the root of my anger? What has happened in my lifetime that I'm passionately angry? Because what they did really on a scale of 1 to 10 is maybe like a 4.
Yeah.
Why am I reacting to it as if it's a 10?
Yeah. It's usually not, doesn't have anything to do with what's really happening. It's usually a trigger of some kind.
Yeah. So when it doesn't happen to me very often now, but as I was learning, I would reflect on my life and say, what happened in my life that I was out of control? And this is just so upsetting me. And then when the thought comes up, oh, or the memory comes up, say, oh, that happened because that happened. That needs to be healed. And then you might go into a place of forgiveness. In this case, it was a place of forgiveness, and that's why I was so passionately angry. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. We could all just do that and stop ourselves and teach our kids that.
And then even be grateful for
yes.
For it all.
Yeah, yeah. And be grateful. Yeah, because we're able to release those things. And I try to tell my 17-year-old, I try to ask him because he's 17, so he's not always open to all things, but sometimes he shows little tidbits that he's listening.
Manifesting his position.
Oh my gosh. He says things. I know as he's going to be applying to college, he's going to be thinking about that.
He learned something from his mama.
He learns. Girl, there are days I'm like, oh my Lord, I don't know if he's learning anything. But to be aware of your emotions and be able to regulate your emotions and understand, why do I feel this way? Yes, people are going to do things in the outside world from us that are going to tick us off, or it's not going to be something we agree with. But why are we reacting the way we are? Why do we feel that way? And I do it all the time because I'm a passionate person.
Yes, you are. One of my favorite people on this whole planet.
I love you so much.
I don't talk to you every day, but especially with Pearl, you've been with me a lot, just from conversations that we've had. What would you want people who are listening right now to take away from you right now, Stephanie?
Live your life with passion and joy. Go do something that brings you joy today. Yeah, just live with more zest. And, if you're waking up feeling dread, if you're waking up, oh, this is another day, then maybe investigate that and think about just a couple of things maybe that even you did as a child, or just things that light you up. This weekend, it was working on our back porch when we bought these tomato plants and these sunflowers, and we put little lights outside. So now we have a little remote control and we can turn the lights on and go out into this beautiful nature and just completely change your state. And just thinking to yourself, what state are you living in? Are you in dread? Are you in joy? Because that's really my whole goal, is to shine the light on people and help them to have more joy. Find those little ways to you can do meditation. I love meditation. I meditate every day. I think that's one way to kind of connect with spirit. But it's also just in your daily, just what can you go do today that will bring you joy? Sometimes I'll just go have lunch by myself somewhere at my favorite place. I don't even have to have anybody go with me. I'll just go. And I went to Jason's Deli last week. I love Jason's Deli. Do y'all have that there?
No. Well, maybe. I haven't.
Well, they have a big salad bar, and I love salad. So I just piled up my salad, and there was nobody to tell me, you're eating too much, or what are you doing? And I sat there for an hour by myself and watched people and ate my salad, and, just inspiring people to do more things like that. Just joy, experiencing more joy.
Experience joy.
Create your vision. Create your vision. Really think about it. Sit down with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want and how do I want to feel?
I love you, Big.
I love you too. You're amazing. I'm so glad you're doing this. I'm happy to come on anytime.
Thank you. Oh, we're not finished.
Oh, I don't want to be.
Oh, no, we're not. No, these interviews are not finished because I had a wonderful one with Suzanne, wonderful one with Rebecca. I'm about ready to have one with Marty. And this was wonderful, Stephanie. Thank you.
I love you so much.
I love you, Big.
Okay. I hope you have an amazing, blissful day.
You too.
Okay. Bye.